Well, I've been staring at this screen of this nice new computer whole day today. And today's wait, what? Today's Wednesday, right? Wednesday is usually the best day of the week when to look for a load. And I delivered my R1700G Monday, right? So Monday it was kind of like a day off. Then Tuesday was semi day off, But Tuesday I was already looking for a load, but I wasn't actually in a mood to get going. But Wednesday, like I'm in earnest, Like at work, I showed up at the truck stop where I parked my truck, and each night I was just, the last 3 nights I think I was at a hotel, so I'm at a hotel right now. Just a small room, pretty nice. This is the second time I'm staying here. I complained about the dirty fridge in the first room, and they said, okay, we'll give you this one because we know that the fridge was just painted, and it looks nice. See, it has its own little kitchenette, LG flat screen TV. The only thing is that the it's like $55 a night, but only basic internet is included. So if you want fast, and of course I want fast because I want to watch movies, etc., you have to pay $4.95 extra for 24 hours. So anyway, so I was sitting at a truck stop and using my own phone, since like it's a weird, gas station / truck stop where there's no Wi-Fi at all, like nothing is free. But it's cool inside, right? Because I'm dying here. It's like 110 F probably, I don't know, 35, 40 Celsius. But then I got tired of sitting there and didn't see much loads. Like everything is kind of like wrong, it's either too heavy or goes in the wrong direction. The only load that's within, I don't know, 5 hours of driving from me is those military vehicles. If you remember, I did quite a few of them, right? That from Louisiana to Quebec, but they don't want to pay, Like that thing is so expensive, like the vehicle itself, it's a lot of money, right? But the rate, I couldn't even get the same rate I got in June. Last time I hauled that one, they were haggling over like $50, I said, okay, I want this one. No, we cannot pay that. I said, I just looked up at my records, this is what you guys paid me. Well, maybe not you, but it was a different agency, but, oh, sorry, we cannot pay that. And just out of principle, I said, I don't want to do that, because I'm still going to be, like if you have a light truck and light trailer, yeah, then it's pretty much legal. It's not that heavy. But for me, I'm 53,000 pounds, plus that thing is 32, so I'm already over 80, right? So I'm going to be paying, for permits for weight, and that's expensive. But the worst part is that I really hate it because it goes into Quebec, right? And then I have to drive like 6 hours back to my place. I never can find loads over there. And those are loads that, I'm not gonna do for cheap when there's deadhead on both ends, right? I have to deadhead 6 hours to the shipper, and then I have to deadhead from the consignee back home another 6 hours. What kind of a deal is this, right? And they don't want to pay the proper rate per mile, even though because basically, yeah, these machines, you can put them on a step deck. And actually, I saw what they did. They even they erected special ramps for a step deck, and so that's why they don't want to pay, because they can move them with a step deck now. And also the consignee has step deck ramps on their end over there, so it's a step deck load, but high value, but step deck. Just the military doesn't want to pay. Anyway, that was one load, and then another one was cool load, but going into Western Canada, 97,000 pounds. And I was just curious. I emailed the guy asking like how many axles you would need, But of course, it's Western Canada, so you need a Stinger, you need a Jeep, because you cannot do it with 6 axles. Because if I go there, right, they will look at me as a 6 axle 6-axle rig. Oh, and one other thing happened is that my phone rings in the morning and the guy says, "Oh, Sergey, this is X Trailers from Florida." And I'm like, "X Trailers?" He says, "Ah, you made an offer on the website." And I remembered I was looking on track paper at these spreaders, right, that turn my flip axle into a stinger. And I know that used ones are about $7,500 US, and new ones are about 15,000. And we're talking about fixed, rigid spreader without any nitro, without any cylinders. But on the track paper, certain websites, they allow you to make an offer, and it says make an offer. Okay, so I put 7,900 US, and this guy calls me. He says, you offered 7,900. I said, well, he says he says you know that the new one is 15,000, and he says this is a new one. And I said, well, you guys are asking to make an offer, so I make you an offer, just $400 more than a used one, right? So you never know, maybe you want to get rid of it, right? And so we just laughed a little bit, and we were talking about this, how some states, of course, don't give you full weight on like my setup, right? So what I learned this time, and like I mentioned in the video, that this was kind of like a testing run to see what I can get away with, right? And I found that Minnesota, Iowa were giving me lots of weight with this 88,000 pound Caterpillar underground mining loader. So Minnesota, Iowa, and Texas, I had no issues at all with heavy loads, with 8 axles, no stingers, no Jeeps. But Oklahoma and Arkansas were giving me a hard time, right? Because I wanted to bypass Oklahoma. Oklahoma only gives you 72,000 on the back and only 12,000 on the front, unless you have 15 feet between the first 2 axles, and I have 14.5. So they were only giving me 12,000 on the front. So lucky I was not that heavy, right? But Arkansas is, and they give you 72,000 on the back. Arkansas is even worse. They only give you 68,000 on the back with these 4 axles, right? And so yeah, that stinger is something that I keep thinking about. By the way, today there was a couple of cool Peterbilt trucks parked next to me. One of them was one of these setups where the guy had Jeeps and tandem stinger, and he had a tandem Jeep, tandem stinger, and he had, I think it was a Trail King with a humongous flip box on the gooseneck, and the guy just sat there. But he had it was a Peterbilt with a tiny flat top sleeper. I don't know how you sleep over there. It's like, I don't know, smaller than what I had on my Mac, but the truck of course looks cool, as any flat top truck would look like, like a older type truck, right? Because nowadays nobody buys trucks like that, but they do look cool. But then I went to so after I got tired sitting at the truck stop over here, I grabbed an Uber and went to Starbucks. And the nearest Starbucks is like 4 miles away, too far to walk. And that was an interesting experience because the girl was Maria, and her profile on Uber says speaks 5 languages. Turns out she grew up in China and she's Spanish. Her father was from Portuguese speaking Angola in Africa. And so she works she graduated from a university. She works as a translator, like young woman. So she speaks Spanish, Mandarin, Portuguese, English, and something else. I think it was like 5. Like, amazing. And so I went to Starbucks again. I kept looking and looking, and then suddenly there was a load from Laredo finally. Like, there's in Houston. Oh yeah, there was one load south of Houston actually, but those guys don't respond. I send them my email, I left them voice message, nobody responds, Then there's a load shows up in Laredo. And I have my truck posted in Laredo, in Houston, in Dallas, even in Jacksonville, Florida, because sometimes there's an auction there, right? And the load from Laredo, 88,000 pounds. And I call him, I say, what is it? It says 12 feet wide. Is it like an excavator or something? And the lady on the phone could not. First I left them a message, sent them an email, nothing. Then I called them back like 15 minutes later. They answered the phone, and they said, no, it's a factory machine. It can be blocked, can be put on blocks, but it's a very weird shape. If you give me your email address, I can send you a picture. And so she sends me a picture, and I can probably show it to you guys here if I can find it. But it's unless I deleted it. Yeah, I think I deleted it. But anyway, it was like a big cylinder, and the front part was much bigger and the rear part was smaller, more narrow, and the rear part was sitting on its big support frame, you know. And there was another skid somewhere there, and it was this thing. They say 88,000 pounds. In the picture, it's sitting on a 3-axle step deck. I guess they just brought it from Mexico or something, you know. And those guys, they don't care about the rules. Like, you cannot have 88,000 on a 3-axle trailer, you know. And plus the extra skid, because I could see from the picture that skid was a part of the load, you know. You cannot have two pieces when it's oversized, overweight, right? But anyway, so I look at the picture, and it might have worked on my trailer because, yeah, you can put it on blocks, but in the picture it had a tarp, you know. And I said, hey, do you guys need this tarp? Because I don't want a tarp, especially in this you know, weather, and plus I don't have tarps, right? I threw them away. And they said, oh yeah, it needs to be tarped, at least 8 feet tall tarps. And so I did not, I said, okay, I don't want to do it, you know. So there you go. And then a bunch of loads here. I'm looking, there's pretty much everything is, there's only a couple of loads here in Texas, but everything is like north, you know, like Wisconsin, Kansas. Then there's some loads in Maryland, Pennsylvania, but of course, you know, that's pretty far. It's like 1,000 miles empty, and then loaded it's only like 500 miles, you know. I emailed one guy, and it was super cheap from Baltimore, but another guy was the rate was a bit better, but still, I don't know. I don't want to sit here forever, but I don't want to put something on my trailer that doesn't pay any money, you know, where the only party that makes money is the broker. And so what I did is, a freight broker from Alberta reminded me that, you know, I'm like 4 hours from Dallas, and this weekend, of course, it's the Great American Truck Show, GATS, right? And so what I did, I registered online, and I got my little, you know, code in there in the email, so I can, when I go there, I can show them that email, and they'll print the ticket, so it's much faster than standing there. And there's free parking for truckers. I took a picture of the address. I think it's either TA or Petro or something, but they give you free parking there. I think it's gonna be cool, so I'm gonna be taking my camera, and I figured out how to download pictures into my new shiny computer that doesn't have any USB ports or any memory cards. And you see, I'm using this because I'm used to my Dell, but actually Apple has no vents on the bottom, but I'm just so used to, that's what I used to do with the Dell, you know. I would always grab this from a fridge to put it on the bed, but you don't have to do this with the MacBook. See, there's no vents in here. But what I figured is that I have this, right? I have this, and then I got this little guy over here. Let me just show it to you. See, I bought this little thing, this dongle, right? So this dongle goes in there, and so this end I can put this in, right? And then if figure, wait a second, I have all these little adapters, right? So why don't I use a micro SD card, put it in here, and put it in here? Because I bought an adapter for these cards, like for full size SD card, but it's coming from Amazon to Cambridge, Ontario, right, to my home base. But now I just need to find one of these. I have like 3 of them because these are my like GoPro micro SD cards, right? I just need to pick up one that's faster, right? But I did some test shots, works fine. Just inside, you know, you put it inside this little adapter, put it in here. Everything works because these are like 64 gigabytes over there. And so I'm gonna take some pictures. I'm charging my GoPro, so I'm gonna take some so I'm gonna combine, you know, like a video footage with some pictures and just relax, you know, like I made good money coming this way, just might take as well a couple of days off. And so so that's the plan for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm just gonna drive to Dallas, kind of like a little micro mini vacation. Drive to Dallas, maybe spend a couple of days in there, you know, Thursday, Friday, because Thursday 12 o'clock I think it's a VIP like show, like for general public I think it starts at 2 o'clock, and so it's like a short day, like I think it's like 2 to 5, but then Friday it's whole day, you know, and of course it's a big place, lots to see in there. And so that's going to be my next video. So the next video will be a reportage documentary from the Great American Truck Show. So you'll guys see new trucks, new trailers. Basically I'm interested especially in components for heavy haul, like, you know, all these Jeeps and Stingers. But trucks for sure. We're gonna look at trucks, we're gonna look inside, you know, feel them, smell them, see what's new and exciting in the world of trucking. And I'm more interested in trailers and trailer components. But it's gonna be cool. So stay tuned. We'll upload the first video tomorrow after the show. Ciao.